Easy people, welcome back to my channel. This is Big Steve at MCFC. Today I've got a special guest. It's one of the 99 playoff legends, big Man City legend, and a man that got sent off for aggressive walking. Super Kevin Horlock. How are you, pal?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
I'm brilliant, mate. I'm brilliant. I'm all the better for interviewing you, mate. It's a bit surreal for me, but I'm glad you're on today.
It's nice to put a face to the voice. Obviously,
Yeah,
we've texted and spoke, but now, finally put a face to it.
yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I've got a
No, it's
face
a
for
good thing,
crime
mate.
watch.
No, it's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, so Kev, listen, I could talk to you all day about Man City, and you could talk to me. We've talked a bit before, but I just want to start at the very beginning. You signed for Man City. I think it was '97. Frank Clark was the manager. I think it was you his first signing.
I think I was, yeah. I think I was. I didn't find out till later, but I think he'd previously tried to sign me at Notts Forest. Not that the club told me, but yeah, I think I was his first signing for Manchester City, yeah.
Yeah, so it could have gone a bit different if you'd have gone Forest. They were doing all right at the time as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they were flying high. I think Stan Collymore was there and of the likes. I think they were doing really well. I think they were in the Premier League at the time. Obviously, I don't regret that one bit. I love my time at Manchester City.
No, yeah. So when you got the call from the agent or the club saying, look, Manchester City are showing an interest, obviously Manchester City is a lot different club back then. We were more famous for basically cocking things up than winning anything. So did you think, oh, it's Man City, it's a big club, I'm going to have a go at that? Or was you a little bit sceptical thinking, you know what, I'm playing well for Swindon, I'm comfortable here. And then Steve McMahon was manager at the time, obviously Man City. And I believe he gave you a bit of a nudge.
Do you know what? First things first, I didn't have an agent. Look, I just had a dream as a kid to be a footballer. I didn't think I would ever get to the heights, if you call them heights, that I got to. Obviously, playing in the Premier League, going to a club like Manchester City wasn't in my thoughts, really. I just wanted to be a footballer. So I didn't have an agent. I was aware there was interest. Steve McMahon obviously come in at Swindon, and he was brilliant for me, I must admit. Obviously, he was a player that I looked up to, played my position, although I did start at left back. And when he come in, I played alongside him, and we got on really well. Some lads loved him, some lads hated him, which is the nature of football and football management, I suppose. But he took a liking to me. We got on really well, went out for drinks with his wife and other players and wives. So he was really good for me. He gave me something different in terms of real belief to go on and drive on and be aggressive and score goals. So I'll always be thankful for Steve. And the interest, he told me about all the interest. He told me on a weekly basis because I'd been scoring goals. I think I'd scored 12, 14 that season. And he used to tell me every game, look, so-and-so's here, so there was a list. And then the day I actually went up to speak to Manchester City it was on a Thursday, I think. We'd played Wolverhampton Wanderers away the night before. And I wasn't feeling great. I was a little bit under the weather. And then he rang me on Thursday morning and said, look, Kev, there's been 2 offers. I think Birmingham was one, offered £1 million. And Manchester City was the other that offered a little bit more. I didn't know at the time what the fee was. And I said, look, what would you do? He said, do you know what, Kev? He said, there's a load of clubs looking at you. They might put bids in, they might not. But if I was you, I'd get in your car and drive to Manchester City and speak to them. I said,
Brilliant.
Really? He said, yeah. He said, Kev, what football club? He said, I know they're not in the Premier League, but just go and speak to them. Just have a look at the football club, the fan base. He said, you won't regret it. And I trusted him, and that's what I did. I got in my car. I was halfway up the M6, actually. And he rang me again and said, look, are you on your way? I said, yeah. He said, look, keep it quiet. Keep it quiet that you're going up there. I said, Steve, it's a little bit late for that. Because obviously on the side of my car, I had a sponsored car, Mazda, hairdresser's car. Nothing against anyone that's got a little Mazda. But I had a little white Mazda with Kevin Horlock, Swindon Town written down the side. So, yeah, I carried on the M6 and went and met Frank Clark and Franny Lee, Mottram Hall Hotel.
Yeah, Mottram Hall, yeah. No, I remember you signing for us. I think was your first game the Oxford one on TV.
It was. You know what? It worked out perfect because obviously being at Swindon, well, I say perfect. It can work both ways. It was perfect because it gave me the chance to go back home and see the kids and missus and get things sorted. And it was quite local to Swindon. On the flip side, obviously, the hatred between Swindon and Oxford is quite fierce, and I got abused that day. I won't say the song they were singing. I don't even know what it was about, but I was doing something with a horse apparently.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, a little bit. It's things like that down there. It's madness, mate. Just
a little bit weird. But I was buzzing that Steve told me to go up there. I'll be totally honest, being a lad brought up in southeast London, as a kid, Manchester City wasn't really spoke about. And I know that sounds probably really harsh. Where I was from, it was all Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, West Ham. And it's funny actually because I look back. My mate sent me a school photo. I was about 10 at the time, and my primary school played in red and black stripes. And I looked at the picture and I thought, hang on a minute, I actually had a Manchester City away shirt on. What happened? The school didn't have enough shirts, so I remember to this day, my mum took me down to a place called Woolwich, and the shop was called Gentry's, I think, or Jubilee Sports or something. And we went in and said, "Have you got any red and black football shirts?" And he said, "No, I don't think so. The only ones we'll have will be in the bargain bucket there." So we've looked through and obviously took this red and black one. And I'm honestly, in my school photo as a 10-year-old, I'm sat in the Manchester City away top. It's bizarre and must be fake, mate. I reckon
it's fake, that, isn't it? It is. That's mad. That
it's weird. You never see a Manchester City shirt. Well, you didn't see a Manchester City shirt in London up until about 15 years ago. 12 years ago. So yeah, it was bizarre.
No, I remember I was at that game at Oxford. I mean, King Clancy ran a riot that day.
It was scary.
I mean, I remember when obviously I was only young, and I remember with you signing, and the Manchester Evening News did this piece saying they finally signed somebody can look after King Clancy, because King Clancy was getting bounced all over the pitch off everybody. You've seen it yourself, and we thought finally someone's coming in here, because I thought we was a bit of a soft touch. Looking back now, I thought it was a little bit of a soft touch. We were relying on King Clancy too much. The fans were pinning the hopes on him, and we didn't really have a great side then. We had a few good individual players, but there wasn't really a team. I mean, that game, that must have been probably your first glimpse of King Clancy. What did you think of him that game when he done that?
Yeah, scary. Do you know what? Over my time at Manchester City with Georgie, I had the best seat in the house, mate. Honestly, the things he did, not just in games, in training, he was an absolute joke. And that was my first glimpse. You're right. He ran riot that day, caused all sorts of problems. I think I played on the left that day actually, and it was a weird day for me. Obviously going to Oxford. Obviously I'd had a mad couple of days signing, and it was weird. I don't know. I'd been at Swindon a long time, and obviously they played in red, so it felt unbelievable to pull the shirt on for the first time, but strange at the same time. But I remember the game. Look, we won the game. I think Georgie scored, didn't he? He might have scored 2 actually on the day.
He scored 2, 4-1, I think it was.
So yeah, it was great to pull the shirt on and play. And I don't know. I'm hoping from the first moment that I pulled that shirt on that day. I think, and I think it was really important. And the way I was always going to play and played throughout my career, I'm hoping without having the Georgie Kincladze genius, I was a player that played like a fan would, if you want to say that. I give everything. It weren't always brilliant. I had no right foot, no pace, but do you know what? I'd have run through a brick wall.
No, I think that stood out in your game. This is what some players don't understand for me. We can see somebody that cares, and we can see somebody. And with you and a lot of the boys, especially the ones in '99, we knew that you just got it. You just got what we got. We were under immense pressure as fans. We were in the shadow of Man United. We were getting ridiculed everywhere we go. But we stuck behind a team that, even though we didn't do too well starting off, we knew that Joe Royle was creating something, and we knew that some of the players there, we'd had them players that came in, didn't really care about the club, took the money, left. We could see through them. But like yourself, I remember seeing you coming over to away fans. If we'd lost, you could tell you was gutted. And I remember you celebrating and having the crack with the fans when we've won. And that rubs off on the fans. I mean, you saying there about your career, you know, maybe playing it down a bit, but Manchester City supporters, they absolutely idolise you. I mean, I've seen you before in Wembley, Green Man, getting mobbed. Do you know what I mean? I mean, for you, that must be like all these superstars we've got now. But I'm telling you now, if it wasn't for you and the lads of '99, this wouldn't be happening. I'm telling you now, it won't be happening.
Yeah, I think that's what football's lost in many ways. That connection with fans. At the end of the day, I looked at it. I was coming to your football club, and I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted you to like me, and I was always going to give everything, everything I had, and I did to the day I left, and we'll obviously talk about that in a bit. But I left not for me. I left because I think it was the right time for the football club as well, and I just think that's important. At the end of the day, Blues are the best in the world, in my opinion. They idolise their football club, and it's funny that you say it. We weren't a great team. We struggled and we had pressure, and we didn't put in performances that you get to see today from the superstars they got. But the worse we got, it was bizarre. The worse we got, the better the fans got.
Yeah, we did.
It was mad.
I don't know if you just, I just done something for Lad Bible a few weeks ago against an Arsenal fan, and the clip that
I see that.
Yeah,
that was brilliant, by the way.
It went viral, but that was me just saying, look, when this club, people go on about supporters, right, and they slag Man City supporters off, right, but they don't understand that when this club needed the fans the most, not 7th, not 8th in the Premier League, when we were right down the York City performance, when this club needed the fans the most, we came week in, week out. And do you know what? It was almost a case of, look, this team, it can't get really any lower than where we are now. So we're in with it now. We're in together. We either moan, protest, cause absolute bullshit like fans do at clubs, get on the pitch, riot, give to the players, or we just galvanise as a unit and say, you know what, you can throw stones at us, but we're all together and we're having it. And I think that's what we did. And then this brings me on to, obviously, we got relegated, Joe Royle, relegated at Stoke 5-2. Did you score at Stoke?
Yeah. I think I scored the third one, I think. And again, it was immense pressure that day. We knew the position we were in. We knew, well, we didn't want to let, obviously, the fans down. And it was a boiling hot day. I think we got off to a good start. I think Goat scored the first one. And you're thinking, oh, we're going to be all right. But we just left it too late. We was running out of games, and we find ourselves in the final game of the season. No one was going to do us favours. And I've heard stories that teams wanted us to go down and so on and so forth. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, it was a tough day. I'd been out injured actually for a couple of months with a medial ligament injury, and Joe come to me 5 days before the game. I hadn't kicked a football, and he said, "Look, would you be able to play if we can get?" It's called a cortisone. They're not good. Injected into your knee, so I couldn't feel the pain. So I obviously agreed to it. I couldn't kick a ball from 5 yards side-footed. I had the injection, and then I played the 90 minutes that day. But yeah, it was a tough day, and one I'll always remember. Unfortunately,
we came out the ground that day. There was no windows in the coach. The trouble outside was just mad because they got relegated as well.
They got relegated too, yeah.
Yeah, it was absolute chaos outside that stadium, and I remember that coach journey down the motorway with no windows, freezing, thinking, man, only us can beat someone 5-2 like that. But the support that day, again, the full end was City. There was City fans in the home end running on the pitch, trying to get at King Clancy and all that. It was just one of them days. And then, so you go away that pre-season, you're relegated. Is there any offers coming in for you? Are you thinking, I want to leave? Are you thinking, I need to put this right?
Look, people have said to me, like, I find it bizarre, like, and you spoke about City fans idolise me when I go there, which is really, really nice. But I find it a little bit embarrassing because I was part of it was the worst Manchester City team in history, which is great. But and fans have said to me, "Oh, thank you," and I said, "For what?" And they said, "Thank you for staying." I was never leaving. I went home. Look, I went home. Obviously, my knee was in absolute bits. I think I took the kids to Disneyland that year. Got to America, my knee was massive. I just chilled out and didn't speak to anybody in terms of football agents. I still didn't have an agent at that point. I had no intention of leaving. I just wanted to get back and my knee to go down, and so I could play and try and put the wrongs right the season after, which I knew wasn't going to be easy because we was a really big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, and I mean, I felt that division, though, for us, we just thought that season I went to every game home and away, and I had some journey with it, and it was proper football for me. But like you say, we were ridiculed as fans, you know what I mean, going into work, going out at weekends, you know what I mean. The United fans were walking tall, they were looking down on us. It was hard to take, but I just think the true Mancunian spirit, the blue side of Manchester, the one that they say Man City fans are the true Mancunian, that came out in that season, and we thought, you know what, this is our club now. We can't get any lower. Let's do it. I remember we started that season really well. I think we didn't get beat for about 5 or 6 games. And then I think we were top of the league. And I was almost thinking, you know what, we're going to have a jolly up here. We're going to cruise through this season. Happy days. And then it just started to go a bit wrong.
Yeah. Look, we're going back to Stoke briefly. I remember, and I've seen clips of it quite recently when obviously the game had finished and Joe was walking down, like the fans clap it. Like, for me, it sets Blues apart from any other fan base in the world. There's no other fan base that would have stuck by the club like they did.
And can you believe now that we get shit off these internet fans saying Man City's got no fans, Man City's got no history? It's an absolute joke, isn't it?
Look, they want to have a go at Blues somehow, don't they? It makes me laugh every time they pull it, taking pictures of the Etihad like at half time so they don't look like it. Look, it's embarrassing. I've witnessed it. So if any of them are listening now, I've seen 32,000 fans packed out Main Road playing in the 3rd tier of football. That wouldn't happen at any other football club. End of story. I've seen away grounds packed to the rafters in the away end and in the home end with Blues. I've seen it. So it makes me smile. It is annoying, obviously, but it makes me laugh because that's the only way they can try and get at Blues these days.
No, listen, I know. And anyone with, I always say, and people go, Big Steve just says how it is. Anyone with half a brain, or I say to him, go and ask your dad about Manchester City Football Club, they'll tell you. But that season there, the pivotal point, do you think, I mean, playing in that squad, what was going wrong in the team? I know when we signed Andy Morrison, a lot seemed to change. Was Andy Morrison really that influential where he came in? And did we just need that? Or was the other things going on? Or did it just click into gear? Did Morrison have a bigger impact, as people say?
He was massive for us. Massive for us. We had a squad capable of getting out of that division, but we had quite a few young lads. We had lads that maybe hadn't been through that before, and we just needed a little bit of guidance. Obviously, Jock come in, he was some character, like, and I don't know, he just gave us a backbone. He gave us a backbone where we knew we could go to away games where maybe before he come, we were getting not overrun, but bullied a little bit and intimidated at these small away grounds that weren't particularly nice. And I don't know, Jock just give us something that we didn't have. He was some character, like.
Oh, I've read his book, and the guy. I mean, I've met him a few times at away games and that, and he's an absolute legend. And he seems very humble. You know, he seems to be almost embarrassed when you sort of see the fans around him. But I remember that game at Oldham Athletic. Same thing. We must have outnumbered them 3-1 in that ground, and he scored an absolute screamer of a volley.
Yeah.
Didn't it? And I was like, Did you score that game?
Yeah, I think I scored 2 in that game, actually. I think I scored a penalty in the first one, and then Jock scored one in between, I think.
But I think the City fans just got him because, like you say, he was aggressive, he was angry, there was tails coming out.
He was technically really good as well, by the way. People forget that. But whenever anybody says Jock or Andy Morrison, they all think, oh, this tough man, which look, he was. But technically, he was unbelievable. He could ping a ball from left to right. He was unbelievable. I remember one of his first days training. Like, obviously, I was a little bit of the joker that obviously has been documented. Joe Roll said I was perfectly insane, apparently. But I remember one of his first.
Richard said that to me once as well about you.
Yeah. Don't believe everything you hear, mate. But Jock come in training first day, and obviously me being me, I looked at him and thought, geez, he looks a bit scary. But he kicked a ball out of play, and he was on the other team. And I said, lads, let the big donut have it. And he didn't say nothing. And then after training, he'd come alongside me. He said, look, mate, he said, carry on. He said, I'll put you in hospital. I was like, oh, all right, then I won't do that anymore. Look, I ended up really good mates with him. I used to knock around with him, and obviously with his missus and kids and that. It was, I got some really fond memories of Jock. Some scary memories as well, where he's chased me around the training ground, and if he got hold of me, he would have killed me. One of the worst one was I think I'd said something the day before and wound him up. We used to always get on after, but I wound him up this day where he had lost the plot, and I'm thinking, God, I've got to get out of here. So after training, I shot straight off. I didn't go upstairs. I went in my car, gone. So I thought it'd be calm tomorrow. Next morning, I walk into Platt Lane. I'd forgot about it. So I've gone into the physio room, which was on the left, but it was like a door, then a corridor, then a door into the actual physio room. So I've gone in the first door, just like in a daydream in the morning. As I've gone in the door, he's waiting in the corridor for me, and he's grabbed me and put me in an headlock. And when I say headlock, right, it started off like, oh yeah, that hurts a little bit. In the end, I couldn't breathe. By the way, I was going jock, and honestly, I see stars. I couldn't train that day. Honestly, I reckon I was close to death. And he just let go. Said, right, that's it. We're square now. But that's the relationship we had. I loved it, like, and I used to wind him up, and he probably let me get away with more than he would let anybody else. So can't complain.
No, he was, definitely a character, like I say, and a big part of what we needed that season. And then obviously you got Sean Goater, Paul Dickov, Gerard Vikens. I mean, these people, these players they're not household names, but to us as City fans, you know what I mean? Sean Goater, I mean, come on, man. It was just mad. His ear, his ass, his tits, his arms, he'd go in, nobody give a shit.
I used to joke with him. I've never seen him score a clean goal where he strike. It used to come off everything. But that's what he had. He had a knack of scoring. And by the way, he scored a lot of goals and a lot of big goals for Manchester City. He was a great lad, by the way. Great lad. He was always in and around the lads. Didn't drink. No. But you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. No. He would be laughing and joking with the drunkest of us. And he didn't have it easy at first, did he? He come in, didn't get off to a good start in terms of scoring goal. But, geez.
I remember there's a lot of pressure on Sean, and he got dogs abuse. And one thing I remember him just knuckling down, trying his best. Sometimes he looked really, really clumsy, and the City fans were giving him grief. But then I've got to give Sean credit because he turned it round. And he went from being one of the most awkward-looking strikers who we thought we've signed a donut here to an absolute legend. And like you say, I remember him a few seasons in scoring a volley from about 40 yards against Charlton, and I think it hit his shin pad when you see it on the.
Mate, I know the exact same one because in real time it looked a weldy. On Sky, it come off. I think it was halfway up his shin.
Exactly.
But that was Sean, and fair play to him. He stuck with it. He worked ever so hard, and end of the day, he scored big goals. He was scoring regular in the Premier League. He's obviously scored the famous goal in the derby when I'm not sure what Neville was trying to do, let the ball run out, I think. But I love the goats, and I used to have banter with him, and he had. I don't know if I can say this on it, but he had unbelievable boobs. Like his boobs were unbelievable. Honestly, Steve, I asked him every single day. I don't know how long we played together, maybe 5 years. Maybe I asked him every single day if I could have a little touch of him, and he never let me. He never let me. We used to sing "Goat has got big boobies" and all that, but he never.
I remember you singing that. I remember you singing that one.
Honestly, they were unbelievable, and I asked him every single day for the entire time we played together, and he never let me. But exclusive, we played in a charity game at Macclesfield. It must be a few years ago now, 3 years ago. And I asked him again because it was I used to ask him every time I see him, and he actually let me have a little feel, and they was as good as they looked.
Oh, brilliant! That is a classic. So there's an exclusive to everyone out there that Sean Goater's boobs. Kev's been after him for years. He managed to have a grapple, so we're all happy there. But no, it was great. It was mad. I mean, and then there was other people in that team like Terry Cook, obviously ex-Man United. He seemed to really be a bit of a shining light for City. And I mean, I used to love Gerard Vikens, me. I used to think he was class, nice and calm. I met him a few years ago. I think that if this you might be able to correct me on this. I went to Liverpool away a few years ago, and Gerard Vikens was in the Arkles, right? And I spotted him, and I was chatting to him, and then I turned round. And I spotted you hiding behind a fruit machine in the Arkles. And I started the song off, Super Kevin Horlock. And then everyone turned around and recognised you.
You done me, yeah. I was probably trying to nick the money out the back of it.
Probably, mate. That's why I was trying to, you know what I mean? I had to say, we don't want that reputation. So I had to get the song going. But Gerard Vikens was another one who he just, like you say, he just came in, did his job.
Yeah.
He seemed to get the football club. You know what I mean? We had Nicky Weaver in net. Same Nicky. I mean, Nicky Weaver was a bit of a party boy. You know what I mean? He was special. But and then so when Andy Morrison came in and we started to finally tick on. I mean, Fulham won the league that year, I think, by a canter, and I think we just had to get in that playoffs. So
I think Walsall, because my mate was at Walsall at the time.
Yeah, they were second, weren't they?
I think they come up and nicked second.
Yeah. And then it was like, so we started getting on the run, and like you say, we seemed to galvanise in that. And is that what you felt when Andy came in? Did you think, right, this is a missing jigsaw? The results started to come, and then you thought, right, we're going to go for this. We can sense the playoffs here.
Yeah, it felt like that. I don't know where we were sitting. I think we were sitting about 12th in and around Christmas. And the game that sticks in my mind was when we went to Wrexham. I think Gerard Viking scored a header.
Yeah. Was it Boxing Day that?
Yeah, it was Boxing Day, yeah.
Yeah,
and I think from that moment, I think we went on an unbelievable run, which obviously ended up getting us in the playoffs. I think that was a big day. I
remember we got to the playoffs, Wigan, Springfield Park. We all got the train down there. There's loads of Blues there. I think there was too many Blues there. We ended up taking the gates off outside and everyone just stormed in. I remember being in the away end. We're thinking, right, we're having this. And then I think someone do an early back pass, and then I think Stay scored earlier.
Yeah, I think it was sort of went back, and I think Gerard Vikings went to get it and just left it and ran away, thinking Weaves was coming to get it. And I think was it Barlow nipped in and scored?
Barlow,
yeah. Typical City, wasn't it? Playoffs. That was early on as well. But lucky enough, we got back into that. I think did Dickie score that day, and then obviously it went back to Main Road, which was packed to the rafters.
That's when Gola scored with his tits.
Off his boobs, mate. They're all claiming handball. That was definitely off his big boobies. 100%.
He was, no, what he went in like that, and everyone was like,
handball.
Like you say now, you've just clarified it. It is tits.
Yeah, just off his double D's, it was.
and then we had a pitch invasion.
Yeah, I
After
know.
that, we're going to Wembley and all that. Thinking, come on, I was a kid, man. As a teenager, I thought, brilliant. We're going to Wembley and all that. We invaded the pitch. And then we get to that game at Wembley. The build up to that game, the pressure for you lads must have been absolutely immense, because the talk was that if Manchester City don't win this game and go up this season, we're basically finished. We're struggling financially. The dark days was coming. We felt that as fans. We thought, if we don't win this game, I don't think we're ever going to get out of this. And then the other mob over the road had won the Premier League, FA Cup. They were going to the Nou Camp for the European Cup, and we was in the playoffs against Gillingham to basically survive. That is how people don't understand. That is the pressure that was on. So no. Not only are we going to survive, you've got the odd mob over the road taking the piss out of us, because they're all going to Barcelona on a jolly up, and we're going to Wembley to play Gillingham.
I know. To be fair, as players, and people have asked me this question quite a lot, I didn't realise the position the club was in. Whether that was a conscious effort from the club not to let the players know, but I've heard since that, if, like you said, if we hadn't won that day, that could have been the club. Well, I wouldn't say finished, because the fan base and the Blues would have never let it finish completely, but it would have been in a whole lot of bother, and it definitely wouldn't have been what it is today. So I don't think we felt the pressure financially, because we didn't really know, but we knew, look, we'd got ourselves in this position, and like I said to you, after that Stoke game, I wanted to put it right, so we put pressure on ourselves. I certainly did, and no one gave Gillingham a chance that day. We was the big Manchester City going down. The game was already won, and I sensed the lads were nervous. I don't know if you've heard the story. I think Joe's told it a few times. I sensed the lads were nervous, so that was when I sort of come to the forefront. I tried to take the pressure off. So we went down. We were staying in a hotel near Chelsea. We'd gone out for a walk, all the lads in and around where we were staying, and it absolutely pissed down. And when I say, look, it rains in Manchester all the time, doesn't it? But this rain, honestly, the raindrops were like golf balls. It hammered down. There was loads of tourists, and they're all rushing back in the hotel for cover. And I challenged Jeff to see who would stay out the longest in the rain. So we're at the front of this hotel. By the way, we're playing at Wembley the next day. Joe was looking and trying to call us in, and I said, "I bet you going first. I bet you going first." He went, "No, I'm not." So we end up staying out there for 8.
Who's this, Jeff Whitler?
Jeff Whitler, yeah, who was a character as well, by the way. But yeah, we ended up staying out in the rain for about 10 minutes. And in the end, the tourists were taking pictures of us. Yeah, we must have looked like a pair of donuts. But Joe ended up shepherding us in, and yeah, that was that. But it just made the lads laugh and took the bit of pressure off, even if it was a tiny bit for that evening.
So you're in the middle of that game. City's not played too bad. It's evenly matched. I think, was it Carlos Saba scored the first one? Carlos Saba runs through, 90th minute or whatever it is, scores the first. And then bang, straight away, before you even got yourself composed, we're 2-0 down in injury time. What's going through your head then?
What was going through my head was what was going through my head for after the 10th minute when I missed that sitter of a header.
Yeah.
I made one. I think Cookie had crossed it, and I connected really well in time of run, but just caught it too clean, and the keeper, and it played on my mind the whole game. I was thinking, oh God, I should have scored. We should be winning this. And obviously when they went 2, I thought, oh, I've ruined it for everybody. That was going through my mind the whole game. I couldn't think of anything else. Obviously when they went 2-0 up, I was thinking that, and I will never forget it till the day I die. I remember they kicked the ball down in deep in our half, down towards our corner flag, and I sort of thought, oh my God, we're going to have to go to all these grounds again.
Yeah.
And I remember looking up the pitch, and the 2 centre halves were cuddling each other, jumping up and down on the centre spot, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And that's a real vivid memory that I have of that game.
So the Gillingham lads were celebrating already.
Yeah. We look, they don't. Oh, I don't know whether. Well, probably looking back, they shouldn't have. But there was no time left. It was like 88th minute, I think. They're 2-0 up. The ball's down in our half near the corner flag.
And then the ball breaks to you on the edge of the box, and you pull one back for us. So we're 2-1. Could you sense something then at 2-1, or did you just think, you know what, that's a consolation, and we've let everyone down here?
I was, in all honesty, I was thinking. To be fair, it was probably a run I made forward from a previous attack. I was that slow, but I was thinking, good job it fell to my left, because if it was on my right, it could have ended up anywhere.
Yeah, you ate clean, didn't you, across the ground into
I'd fancy myself on my left from there.
I was right behind that. Right behind that net, there was a little Coca-Cola sign, like a tunnel, Coca-Cola on it, and I was literally above that, and so I was right above that net.
I remember seeing you. That's what I was at. I always picked a face out in the crowd.
That was me, mate. It was me.
Hey,
it was me.
You had an assist. You had an assist then.
Cheers, mate.
But I must admit, look, as selfish as it might sound, I was thinking, do you know what? This ain't worked out how we wanted it to. We're going to have to go again. But I thought, do you know what? I've scored at Wembley. I know that sounds really selfish, even me saying it, but that's me just being honest. That's what I thought. But we had something. We had a team spirit, and one thing we was never going to do was give up. We weren't going to let it go. So we was going to run until that final whistle went, and that's what we did. And obviously, the ball fell to Dickie, and the knee slide happened.
Dick of that season used to miss them sort of chances, right? He used to snatch at them, and they'd go anywhere. Sometimes he'd go in, sometimes he wouldn't. But what I noticed about that, I've never seen the man as so composed in my life. It was like he thought, you know what, this is the last chance to save this football club, so I'm side-footing it. And he side-footed it, and it took that little nick, which was fate, just out of Bartram's reach.
He meant to do that. He was aiming for that little nick.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I tell you what, the scenes in that ground when that goal went in, I can only compare it to when Aguero scored. I mean, and that's testament to how it was, because I've never felt so down in my life, because I thought the same. I thought, if we can't beat Gillingham in the playoffs, we're pretty much finished, you know. And the fans would give everything that season to get behind the team, and I felt like I couldn't give any more. And when Dickov scored that goal, I knew he was going to win it, because the whole city end just got supercharged up. And it was
you can see it. You can see it, can't you? I've watched it back a few times, and you can see it after he scores. It pans to the crowd, and there's people, grown men, crying, and it's mad to watch.
It was unbelievable. And then we had the extra time, and then obviously the penalties. I can't lie, the scariest moment of watching a Manchester City game for me And I'm still worried about it now, even though I know it went in, was when Richard Edgell stepped up.
I knew he was going to say that. Wait, let me tell you now, we was just as worried as you. Let me tell you.
And you know what? It hit the underside of the bar, and it looked like he meant it, but I know he was really aiming for the bottom left-hand corner, and he stuck it.
Look, it was the best penalty out of a lot of them. Two keepers wouldn't have saved it. But
I remember the feeling in my chest, thinking, "Fucking hell, Richard Edgell, I can't believe it." And then, like you say, it just seemed to go our way. Did you take a pen?
I took the first one. Yeah.
You scored.
Yeah. To be fair,
Is it Dickov missed? Did Dickov hit both posts?
Dick both posts, yeah. Mine and my lads, I've shown my lad it and stuff, and when you look at it, I sort of say, look, I was waiting for the keeper to go the wrong way because, by the way, if the keeper goes the right way, he saves it, and I didn't wait for him to go. Look, I can't explain that the nerves you feel. Obviously, I was aware and part of what had happened previous season, so I had a lot on my shoulders walking up there, and it meant so much to me. And in that moment, I was just thinking, right, hit the target. And because you're so nervous about missing and letting people down, you don't go in the corner because you don't want to risk not hitting the target. So, yeah, it weren't a great penalty, but it looked a lot better because the goalie went the wrong way.
And like you say, Weaves turned out brilliant there. You know what I mean? He saved them pens, and
he's still struggling to get his breath back from that run he went on. I
couldn't believe that myself. He just claps and then the worst person in the world to catch is Andy Morrison.
Yeah, just bang. Yeah, you ain't going nowhere. Yeah, he couldn't breathe. He went under and everyone jumped on top of him. Apparently, he was struggling to breathe. But he was only a young lad at the time as well, wasn't he? So
yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, man. Absolutely fantastic. And like you say, that team, I got a picture of that team on the wall in my house. You know what I mean? And that just grounds me sometimes. You know, I come in sometimes and I've got a bit of a room with some memorabilia and stuff. And that 99 team is in there because to us, that was so important as Man City fans as well. I'm saying you don't understand that what you mean to the fans, but I know that you do because I've seen you, like I say, I've seen you get mobbed in the green, man. I've seen them singing your name at games. Random games I'll go to now, they'll be singing Terry Cook or walking in a Vikings Wonderland. And it's like, people just don't get it. You know what I mean?
It makes me laugh, like, because if it happens, I don't know, say I'm somewhere and there's a group message and they come up and they're all over me, you can see people that are maybe not Blues thinking, who the fuck is that? Yeah. and to be fair, my lad was the same. I took him to Fulham when he was quite young at the time, and obviously he was too young to actually see me play football. So he didn't really understand at that point. And we went to Fulham and I had a hat on, scarf, trying to hide, and someone spotted me. So they're all coming over having pictures and started singing my name. And my lad was only about 6. He's looking up at me as if to say, who the fuck are you then? Like, what's this all about? Like,
what have you not been telling me? What have you not been telling me?
Yeah, it makes me smile. But look, what a club to play for, what a fan base to play for. And I'm not glad that they idolise me. I'm just glad that they see that I give everything that I could for their football club. Yeah, but you said it
before, you're like a fan. And I think we appreciate that. Man City fans appreciate players that put a shift in. And the whole of that team, there's not no one in that team. Even you're looking at players like Tony Vaughan, Gareth Taylor, you know what I mean? People like that and Edgy in that. And they all, everyone loves them because that season was tough. We knew as fans how tough it was on yous as well because we knew the pressure from the media and from other teams and players winding you up. Oh, yeah, you think you big bollocks, all you lot and all that. And you know what I mean? We used to get it coming out the ground. You're not famous anymore. The York one was the one that everyone always pins to. That was a bad day, you know what I mean, all round. But then we get promoted and then it's like happy days again, innit? But we yo-yoed a bit through the divisions, didn't we? We did the Kevin Keegan thing. You was part of that. We absolutely annihilated the championship.
That was some season. That was probably my most enjoyable season that I've had playing. It was that transition period from going from the nucleus of what had got us in and around back to where we needed, or the club needed to be and should have been. And then we started signing players with a bit of class and that cutting edge, which fans want to see as well. So that season, we went out knowing we was going to win. We knew that if we conceded 2, we'd score 3. It was a special season, and it just sort of snowballed, and obviously, like you say, we blew everybody away in the end. I think we scored over 100 goals as well that season.
You was there with Ali, innit? Ali Benarbia.
Yeah, yeah.
When he signed, I mean, I heard a story that he wasn't really meant to sign for us. I heard he just came with an agent about another player and he sort of just trained and then we signed him. Is that true?
Do you know what? I don't know. All I remember is the first day he turned up, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but he was quite an odd shape for a footballer. Quite short, quite... And we're walking out, I think, who's that? Like, he obviously was in his twilight years where he was a little bit older. I honestly thought he'd won a competition to train with us or something. Honestly, like, I know that, I'm being serious. And well, I thought that until someone threw him a football, let me tell you now. And then it looked like I'd won a competition to train with him. He was scary, by the way. And look, no one had really heard of him. He'd been playing in France. I think he'd got French Footballer of the Year, but no one really knew of him. And he was like... He
used to look like he was shuffling on the... He didn't used to look like he was running. He used to look like he was shuffling.
Yeah, he still shuffled way quicker than me, though, mate, didn't he? Yeah, he was frightening. I would love to have seen him in his prime.
Oh, yeah. And he was another one. He seemed to come at the right time where we just maybe getting a little bit flat, and then we sign Ali Benarbia, and it's like... He was like, yeah, like you say, we just thought, where's he picked him out from? You know what I mean? Ayo Berkovic, even Mad Paolo one-chopper. I heard that Andy Morrison had a scrap with him. I think one-chopper him with a roundhouse or something.
No, he did. It kicked off in the physio room. And I don't know what it was over. I sort of caught the back end of it. And Paolo was a big lad, by the way. And he was ripped up. Yeah. And they started squaring up. I said, oh, no, this ain't going to end well. For Paolo, by the way. And Paolo started doing the old boxing maneuver, like two-step, and I think, no. And he's not a boxer, he's UFC, mate. And and he got split up pretty soon, and it was fine after. But yeah, that could have got messy, that.
No, it was mad, and like you say, so would you say you enjoyed that season? Obviously, the pressure of the '99 one's over. You've gone into that season. We're playing great football. And then we got promoted, and then. But did you stay? How long after that promotion under Keegan was you there?
I think I stayed. Was it one season? I think. Look, Kevin Keegan. When Kevin first come in, I was leaving actually. I think we'd gone down to play Norwich, and I was actually going to speak to Ipswich Town, who were in the Premier League at the time, and sign for them. And Jeff Whitley broke his leg. I don't know if you remember. And I went on as sub and did okay. And Kevin Keegan pulled me on the way back on the coach and said, look, he said, Jeff's going to be out for a while. He said, I'll be totally honest with you. He said, you're better than I thought you was, which well, I suppose was a compliment.
Yeah.
Double-sided compliment. And he gave me a new deal. Like, he was just true to his word and said, look, I'll give you a new deal. I think I signed 2 years maybe, or it might have been 3. And then I stayed one more, but then he pulled me at the end of that season and said, look, he said, you've been really good for us this season. I think I was runner-up behind Ali for Player of the Year, strangely enough. First time that ever happened. But he just said, look, you've played a big part this year. He said, but next year you probably won't. There was a young Joey Barton coming through. And he just said it like that. And I just thought, do you know what? I've loved my time at this football club, but I think it's the right time for me to leave. It was the right time. The club was evolving. The club was signing players that could take them to the next level, and I just felt that I wasn't a player that could help them do that.
Well, you held your own, though. You held your own to come from that 99. You played with some great players in midfield, and like you say, you held your own. You were scoring free kicks, your penalties, goals. You never let us down. Like you say, Man City fans will always remember you. I can't ever remember. Some players get a bit of grief throughout the career, and then they sort of win the fans round. I think with you, I don't ever remember you ever getting any grief from City fans. I just always remember you were super Kev, and you always put in a shift, and everybody appreciated that.
Super Kev. I thought it was soup for Kev. Cup of soup. And again, I think you go back to it. I think, obviously, I've had a load of bad games in my career, but I think they appreciate if you give everything, they can live with that. Yeah. If you're not working hard and you're not flying into tackles and all that, then you've got every right to be.
Do you know what's a mad one, right? I used to see Joey Barton stink the gaff out, but at the end of the game, he'd be the last one that comes to the supporters and clap. And on the way out, everyone would say, "But yeah, we were shit there, but Barton was all right, wasn't he?" And that's the only reason, because he came over and clapped at the end. It's the last thing they think about.
Yeah,
and they
maybe,
think,
yeah.
And a lot of players get away with that, you know what I mean? And I've seen players have great games, walk straight down the tunnel, and everyone's slagging them off because they didn't clap the fans. Because sometimes the fans just want that appreciation, innit?
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing. I don't know if you remember back to the playoff final. Obviously, we appreciated everything the supporters did for us because we had some real dark days, and they were that extra player for us, and they give us that G up that we needed. It was Andy Morrison's idea. I think we got on the halfway line and sort of went on our knees.
All bowed, yeah, I remember it. You all bowed at the fans. No, it was brilliant.
And I think I think that's why the affiliation with that team, with the supporters, is still so strong. We have it between ourselves. We don't see each other, obviously. I think we met up for the 20-year anniversary. It was like we had never been apart. We've got a bond that will be there forever. And I'd like to think I've got a bond with Blues as well that'll be there forever.
No, you have people, and I'm relatively new to this YouTube game. Like you say, I'm just trying to represent my fan base because I was sick of the shit they were getting online. So for you to come on here with me, and when this goes out, I'm sure there's a lot of Blues of a certain age that follow me because I'm of that age. So they'll be absolutely over the moon to just sit here and watch this with me and you, a fan of Manchester City '99 and a player. And I just think it's great, mate. And I'm absolutely over the moon that you came on and chatted to me.
No, mate, I'll do it any day of the week. Like you say, you're being a fan, and I'm an ex-player. I'm a fan as well now. I feel part of it. I feel that bond with Blues from yesteryear when it weren't so good, and I'll always appreciate them for what they did for us. And
you're doing things for the club now, aren't you? On a match day and stuff.
I have done. I've done a fair few. I've not done any this season. I went to Champions League and probably enjoyed myself a little bit too much and not been asked back since. So, I go up now and again and when I get asked. So I've not gone up this season as yet.
Oh, but listen, Kev, I appreciate you coming on. Just touch on when you had to leave Man City. There was no hard feelings, like you say. You just decided it was time to move on.
There was
and you left.
I think I had two years left on my contract. And look, let's not kid ourselves. Footballers earn good money, and I was on good money, but nowhere near the money others were, which didn't bother me again. And that wasn't what it was about. But I had 2 years left on my contract, and I ended up moving to West Ham on half the money.
Yeah,
it was just the right time for the football club. It wasn't. Look, financially, I should have stayed at Manchester City, but then I was going to be there and not doing the fans or the club justice, and not being able to give or contribute to where the club was going. So I went, you know what? And it was West Ham, a club that I was quite fond of as a kid. I thought, you know what? It's not about the money. It's not about being greedy and staying here and just taking a wage. I'll leave, and sort of left. Look, I was gutted, but I know deep down it was the right decision. The one thing I regret and wish I'd have had the chance was maybe to go back and play there and sort of say thank you in person, which I didn't get. I sort of left and didn't go back as a player, so that's my one disappointment. But it was 100% the right decision.
Well, I've got to give you credit for that, because there's a lot of players that could hang around at clubs like a bad smell, and the legacy start gets tainted because people think he's not good enough now. He's sat here for the money, and I mean, I don't think for 1 minute the City fans would have done that. But the fact that you decided in your own head, look, I'm going to take half the wages and leave, that's all credit to you, mate, and what you think of this football club. And I'm sure the fans and that. Listen, listen. I'll speak on behalf, and we appreciate everything you did. And I've spoke to ex-players before, and every single one of them always mentioned you as being the joker in the dressing room. Kevin Horlock was a nightmare. He'd be doing all sorts, and you always used to say that. So I'm sure it was fun.
That's still me now. I obviously have to curb it now. I'm a manager and stuff, but that's always going to be part of me. And look, sometimes I'm not some joker that's just a joke all the time and don't feel vulnerable and pressure and all that. Sometimes it's a front to cover that up. There was pressure during my time, and not just at Manchester City in your career, and sometimes I hide behind the jokey Kev at times. But look, as long as it makes other people laugh and takes pressure off my teammates, which it did at the time at Manchester City, then it was well worth doing. And
the last thing I'm going to say is, how do you get sent off for aggressive walking?
Well, my excuse is I got one leg shorter than the other. It weren't aggressive; it's just my walk. Bizarre.
Was it against Bournemouth? Was it against Bournemouth?
Yeah, I think he's come out since and said I swore at him, but I didn't, because in the report he said I didn't say anything. I think Jamie Pollock had been sent off, and there'd been a challenge that I didn't quite like. It was the worst game of football. I think it was 0-0 at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And I sort of walked towards the ref when there was a break in play. I think Weaves was getting treatment. And as I'm walking towards the ref, I'm about 10 yards. He's sort of thrown a red card up. I've looked behind. He went, "No, you." I went, "Me? Why?" He went, "Just get off." So I've walked off. Jamie's still in the dressing room, just getting undressed to get in the shower, previously being sent off. He said, "What did you get sent off for?" I said, "I don't know." Then Joe come in and said, "What did you say to him? What did you say to him?" I said, "Joe, I didn't say anything." And then the report come through saying that I walked towards him in an aggressive manner.
Oh,
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm not aggressive. It's not in my nature.
That's got to be a first in football. That has got to be a first in world football, being sent off for aggressive walking. Surely.
Yes. Look, I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. It's one of the highlights of my career. That.
Anyway, mate, I'm not going to keep you. I know you're busy. Thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. Anytime, mate. Anytime.
Good luck in what you're doing with Needham and that. And definitely, I'm going to catch up with you at a game soon, and I'm going to get you a pint.
100%. I'll be behind a fruit machine somewhere.
Yeah, if I see you, I won't start singing this time. I'll let you rob it, yeah?
Cheers,
Nice one, Kev. Thank you, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.